Hey everyone, Jana here. Today we are kicking it up. I'm going to show you how to make my baked cheesy cauliflower gnocchi. You don't need eggs or wheat flour to make this deliciousness. I'm going to show you how to do it with cauliflower power. Gnocchi used to be one of my favorite things to eat. Unfortunately, with the eggs and the wheat flour in the traditional recipe, it's not really compatible with a plant-based and gluten-free diet. So today, I'm going to show you how to make plant-based and gluten-free gnocchi. I'm also going to kick it up a notch, and we're going to make cheesy gnocchi. We're going to put in some plant-based cheese to replace more of those bad flours. We're going to take those dumplings of deliciousness and make them just a little bit more divine. Follow me, let's get started. One of my favorite things about this recipe is that it requires only 5 ingredients. Let's go over those now. 4 cups chopped cauliflower florets with the core removed, about 14 ounces. 1/3 cup tapioca starch, 1/3 cup potato starch, 1/2 teaspoon finely ground sea salt, 1/3 cup shredded vegan mozzarella cheese. So you're going to steam your cauliflower florets, but first I want to show you the best way to cut them. You want to remove most of the core. You don't want a lot of the core in your steamed cauliflower. And then you're going to cut them into pieces. But now the key is you need to cut them into large enough pieces that they're not going to fall through your steamer basket, but at the same time small enough pieces that they're going to get nicely steamed. Now it's time to steam your cauliflower. You can do that on the stove top in a steamer basket over boiling water or with a countertop steamer. And again, you want to make sure you cut your florets small, but not so small that they're going to fall through your steamer basket. You're going to steam the cauliflower for between 10 and 15 minutes until it's fork tender and begins to start to turn translucent. While your cauliflower is steaming, you want to get out a baking sheet and line it with a piece of parchment paper, or you could use a tea towel. This is where your cauliflower is going to cool once it's done steaming. So my cauliflower is finished steaming. Now I'm going to bring it over and place it on my baking sheet to cool. Just dump it on and sort of spread it out there so it's in a single layer and it'll cool really quickly. Once your cauliflower is done cooling, you're actually going to wring it out. Now why? Well, it's a little known fact, but cauliflower is made up of 90 to 93% moisture, water. So we've got to get some of that out of there. You can use either a piece of cheesecloth cut approximately about the same size as your baking sheet, or you can use a tea towel that's lined with paper towels. Now, why line it with paper towels? Well, if you have any residual detergent left in that tea towel, you don't want to infuse that back into the cauliflower. So place your cauliflower on your cheesecloth and draw it all into the middle, like so, and gather up all your edges so nothing escapes. Now, you're going to take your cauliflower and twist it. I'm kind of going to mush it a little bit just to start breaking it down the water. See all that water coming out? Look at that. You get all that liquid out of there. Now, by the time you're done getting all the water out of this, just to give you an idea, it should be about 3/4 to 1 cup of fluid. So I think I've finished my arm workout now and also getting all the fluid out of the cauliflower. I have here a 1 cup measuring cup, and let's pour our fluid in there just to see. And sure enough, that's about 3/4 cup of water that came out of that cauliflower. Now we open up our cheesecloth, take our cauliflower, look at that. Now what does that look like? Does that resemble something? Yeah, look at that. That looks like a ball of dough. Isn't that really cool? The next step is pureeing our cauliflower. After you've removed all the water, you're going to be left with probably 1 to 1 1/4 cups cauliflower. You're going to take all that and you're going to put it in your food processor. scrape the sides. This is probably about 30 seconds. You just want that cauliflower to be all broken down. It should almost be like a paste. Next, we're going to combine our remaining ingredients in a small bowl and whisk them together. We have our 1/3 cup of potato starch, our 1/3 cup of tapioca flour, or starch, same thing, 1/2 teaspoon finely ground sea salt. Go ahead and give those a little whisk together. Then add in your 1/3 cup of vegan shredded mozzarella cheese. Add the contents of your bowl to your cauliflower in the food processor and give it a little whirl to combine. Pause for a second. Stir it up with a spatula. Just make sure you have all those dry ingredients. Okay, that fast. So when it's done, it should look kind of dry and powdery, but at the same time, it'll stick together when you press it between your fingertips. Take your dough and put it into a medium-sized mixing bowl. Now, we're going to form that dough into a nice ball. It should come together very easily for you. If for some reason it doesn't, you can add up to 3 teaspoons of water. I wouldn't go beyond that. See how easily that just comes together? You'll need a little extra tapioca starch to flour your surface. We're getting ready to make the gnocchi now. We're going to take our dough ball and we're going to cut it into quarters. To make your gnocchi, you're going to need a sharp knife, a fork, and a parchment-lined baking sheet. Cut your dough ball into quarters. Set 3 quarters aside. Take one of the quarters and roll it back into a ball. Once you have it in a ball, place it on the counter and roll it out with your hand. You want it to become about a 6-inch long rope that's going to be about 3/4 inches thick, 3/4 of an inch thick. Let's see what we've got here. Yep, that's about 6.5 inches right there, but that's fine. It doesn't have to be an exact science. And now we're going to cut our gnocchi into 1-inch pieces. So we'll do a half, and then we'll do thirds. Okay. Once you have your pieces, pick them up individually and just sort of press them to whatever shape you desire. I sort of make mine into little rectangles. Then, grasping it between your 2 fingers, you take your fork, the back of the tines, and press. And that gives you the characteristic lines in the gnocchi. Once you're done forming the gnocchi, place it on your parchment-lined baking sheet. Just grab another one, form it into a rectangle, back of the tines, press in the top, and voila. You're going to get 2 dozen gnocchi from this recipe. We're going to place them all on the baking sheet and then we'll freeze them until they're firm before we bake. The reason I like to freeze the gnocchi for a little bit before I bake it is so that it's firm enough to put in a bowl and toss with about a teaspoon or so of olive oil and some salt and pepper. As you can see, they're nice and firm now, which makes it easy to stir. Also, I might add, this is a great recipe to double and triple, and once you've frozen them on the baking sheet and they're nice and firm, transfer them to a zip bag and they'll keep in the freezer for months. Pull them out and it's a great quick weeknight meal. Here I'm adding about a teaspoon or so, depending on your preference, you can add more or less, of olive oil. And then we're going to add some salt and some black pepper. Take a spatula and just stir that together. Once you have that mixed, pour it on your baking sheet and spread those little babies out. So preheat your oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. You're going to put them in, let them bake for about 15 minutes. Take them out, turn them over, sprinkle them with additional salt and pepper, and put them back in to bake for another 5 minutes. So we've reached the 15-minute mark. It's time to take them out, flip them over, and add a little more salt and pepper. See how nice and golden brown they're getting there? So we took them out at 15 minutes, we flipped them over, we add a little more salt and pepper, and they go back in for 5 more minutes. After we've taken them out of the oven, we want to let them cool for a little bit on the baking sheet. Then we can plate them up. There are so many awesome serving options for this dish. You can use my marinara sauce or my vegan Alfredo, which are both on Nutritionicity.com. Or you can simply plate them, drizzle them with a little olive oil, sprinkle them with a little parsley, and top them off with some of my vegan Parmesan cheese. This recipe also has a video down below that you can watch after this. And there you go. There's your baked cheesy cauliflower gnocchi. 100% plant-based, 100% gluten-free. To get this recipe, head on over to Nutritionicity.com. And if you enjoyed watching this, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deliciousness. Thanks for watching.